Well, for our next collector, Mario Frazzetto, travelling back in time is no harder than turning a handle and placing a needle.
One of the reasons I started collecting them is when I was a kid I always loved movies like Back to the Future and The Time Machine and all that sort of thing. And by collecting gramophones, which have all these mechanical moving parts and all that sort of thing, I can almost go back into time because I come down here into my room and I can play a record that's 100 years old, and it's a way of almost travelling through time yourself. I've got a few records in my collection, only about 10,000. This is one of the prizes in my collection. This is an Edison School Opera. There's only about 32 known left in the world today, and this one here is really special because it's believed to be the only one that's left to have its original stand, its original boxes for all the records and the lids for all those. So this machine's a phonograph, therefore it actually plays cylinders. This is a cylinder I recently picked up. It is Washington's farewell address.
As no one can add to the brightness of the noonday sun, so no words can increase the glory of the immortal Washington.
You could actually choose from timber horns, tin horns, some paper mache horns, and there was even a leather horn out there. This machine here is a HMV, probably one of the most recognisable names in gramophones, His Master's Voice, the dog and gramophone transfer. This one's made in 1910, but there's a lot of reproductions out there coming in from India and places like that, so just be careful if you're ever looking for one. Some people would spend up to 6 months' worth of wages on a gramophone at the time, and they wanted it to fit in with their decor that they had at home, so some people would have Sheraton-style furniture and Hepplewhite and Chippendale and all those sorts of names that are well known today as antiques, and the phonograph companies and the gramophone companies at the time actually realised that, so what they did is they put out cabinets in the style of Chippendales, Hepplewhites and so on. So I recently picked up a matching cabinet for a Monarch Senior that I have, which is a HMV machine. It's an external horn machine, and it's actually the matching pedestal for that machine, and I had that brought in from London. There is actually only 4 in Australia, and there's probably no more than 10 or so known outside of Australia. I'd love one day to actually have a public display of the collection. I think it's important with collections to be able to share it with more people than just keeping it at home and not letting anybody ever see it.
Now, I have to be honest and say that you don't look like a typical gramophone phonograph collector. Who's collecting these sorts of things?
Basically, well, I'm the youngest person in our society, but there's people of all ages in Australia and the USA, and there's people in Europe basically ranging from my age right till their 80s, mid-80s.
Now, these were invented in 1877, but they didn't really go into full production until the 1890s.
Yeah, that's right. It was the late 1890s when they actually basically started making them more commercially for home use.
And this really led to the democratisation of popular music, didn't it?
Well, absolutely. If you wanted to hear a famous performer at the time, a famous artist, basically you had to see them live.
Yes, and if you couldn't afford to do that,
you
then...
just didn't see them.
Yeah. What's this one down here?
This one's actually called a Mickey phone, and this one here's got its original box. Basically came out in the 1920s, and it is, I guess, a forerunner to your Walkman or portable
or your iPod.
Stereo. Yeah, exactly.
So you could take it on a picnic or pop it in your pocket.
And it'll play a full 10-inch record.
And this lovely little one down here, it looks like a child's one, is that right?
Yeah, this is actually another part of the things I actually like to collect, and that's the toy gramophones. These are fully functional. Never sounded too great to start off with, but still part of the phonograph history in their story.
And did you get special little children's-sized records for those as well?
You did get small records, yeah. They put them out as well.
Can we all thank Mario for bringing in his collection?